name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, stock, format it. Technologic.
This is the World Today Weekend on CKNW News Talk 980. Once again, here's Sean Leslie.
Oh, that's my main man, Gabe, at the controls, spinning the records today. Nobody spins records anymore, I know. It's just a figure of speech. But in a world ruled by technology, it's important to make sure kids learn the proper way to use it, whether it's using cell phones, iPads, Facebook, or the Xbox. Limits and proper internet rules should be instilled in children. To give us some advice, joined by Natacha, Beim, educational leader and founder of Canada's first junior kindergarten, operated by Core Education and Fine Arts. Natacha, hi, how are you today?
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us. Hey, tell us what junior kindergarten is. What does that mean?
Junior kindergarten is a wonderful program for children just before they enter kindergarten. So it would be for children up to age 4. And it teaches them everything from reading, writing, science, yoga. And so it's a wonderful, very stimulating program for young children.
How's it different from preschool?
Only because it has a curriculum that goes by international standards. For instance, it's like the IB school of preschools.
Okay.
So we just set the highest standard for math or for reading, for instance, and we have an actual curriculum which we have developed for our school.
The reason I ask is in BC, the provincial government is looking at a formal kindergarten program for 3 and 4-year-olds. Yeah, they haven't said it's definitely going to happen, but it's certainly been something they've talked about for the last few years. But it's met some resistance with some parents saying, that's not the place for little kids. They should be out playing. They shouldn't be in a classroom.
And they're completely right, and that was my point. I think junior kindergarten, it is done all over the world, but as Canadians, we have prized our children's freedom and desire to play at this age, and it's really important that we don't lose that. With our program, for instance, which has been looked at by the BC government as well, we introduce everything through puppetry and through play, and so the children feel that they're playing all day. The idea is to stimulate children, which has a lot to do with what we'll talk about with respect to technology today, to stimulate children in areas that they need and crave stimulation.
Well, yeah, let's get to that because technology is everywhere, isn't it? I know even, my house, there's cell phones. My oldest daughter's 11. She's got a cell phone. We have the Wii. We have Nintendo DSs. We have the computer and the Internet. And, we haven't gone to the iPads yet, but maybe we'll get there. It's just all around us. And it really does, Natacha, start being, I think, a factor in children's lives now from a very early age.
Yes. Definitely. Children are surrounded by technology, and not only that, but the way that our world works, and because of that technology, children are much more exposed to visual learning or much more stimulated visually. Everything comes at them, magazines, even advertisements outside. Everything is much more visual. Just picture Japan.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we need to keep in mind because children have started to crave that type of learning that's much more active and much more visual.
And so that, yes, absolutely. So let's talk about what parents should know, should talk about with their kids. I mentioned all the devices and all the screens. Are you a proponent of limiting screen time, whether it's TV, computers, DSs, or Game Boys, or what have you?
You know what? That's a very good question because that's where I think most parents get stuck. They think, okay, well, we shouldn't let our child watch too much TV. Well, watching TV is a very passive activity where you sit and watch a program which may or may not be appropriate for your child. And that's what we're used to thinking about when we think of technology. But using a computer and using a TV are two different things. Children today are using computers to do their projects at school.
Yes.
They're using computer for research. I mean, my child is also 11, and Julian has never had to research, pick up 4 books from the library and do his research project there. He went online. He found maps. All the information was online, and our role as parents was to show him how to look for actual good information online and not bad information. And then he still reads quite a bit. But I think that the Internet has become, even for us adults, the way that we research and connect to the world. So I would say, for instance, if you said, well, children shouldn't watch more than an hour of TV per day, I fully agree with you. But if your child is doing a project and a creative project or writing music in the computer, well, that shouldn't be limited because that is learning, and your child is fully engaged in learning. It's like telling a child, well, don't read a book because you've read enough for today.
That's right. That's so funny because my youngest daughter, who's 8, just did a project on the Eiffel Tower, and you're right.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it would be go to the library, find books on it. Now you spend 5 minutes and you've got all the information you need via Google or what have you.
That's right. And all that research that we used to do, putting all of those things together from 3 or 4 books, they're doing by doing it online. So they're still using the analysis and the composition, skills that we needed back then. But it has changed a lot for them, and they get a lot more. They get videos to go with it. I mean, we didn't get that from books, right? They can see it happen live. They can see the Eiffel Tower light up.
That's right.
In front of their eyes.
Yeah.
Without having to go there. So technology is a wonderful thing, but it depends on how, what kind of technology it is and how you use it. And so I'll get to that. You can say, well, no, I don't want you playing video games all day, and that's a very fair statement. But what you can say is, what you should look at is, what is your child asking you for, and is that particular thing good or bad? For example, a Wii console. You think, okay, well, I don't mind you playing tennis or something like that on the Wii console, but I do mind you playing war games on the Wii console. There's not that many for the Wii, but, violent games or karate or anything like that. And it depends on the parent, but you can still embrace technology and set limits within the technology that you've chosen. Same for the computer. You can say, okay, well, I don't want you watching inappropriate things on Google or things like that, but I do want you to contribute and be creative and put your creativity out there for the world on YouTube.
So it really is important to embrace technology, and I have to, I'm sorry to wrap up this segment, Natacha, but it is important to embrace technology, but also use some common sense.
That's right. That's exactly right, and it's what you would do with children anyway. I mean, think back then, our parents would say, okay, well, you can read these magazines, but you cannot read these.
Right.
These are hiding somewhere, and they're not appropriate for you. Well, it's the same here. You can't say, well, a computer's bad. You should only limit technology use to poor technology or poor choices. For instance, if they want to play a video game that is not, there's no learning in it. There is nothing that is, there's nothing that your child is gaining from it. In fact, it might be, it might not even be